nationalism. I wouldn't, like when in our 1948 unit, we're talking about Arab nationalism. This is like an Islamic nationalism, which I guess there's an overlap only because there's such thing as Arab Christian. So I don't want to say they're exactly the same thing. But this
that like always confuses me. Like.
Right. So
yeah, it's like wearing off.
But anyway, so why am I saying this? So I posted this article on the stream. And I put something like interesting, scary, and interesting. So there's this group that got a spot at a conference in Ontario, Canada. And their goal is to establish an Islamic caliphate, so replace Southern Europe, Middle Eastern, and African countries. Because look at this. Look at this picture. It had Spain in the picture. Right? Southern Europe is in this old picture. And they even want to include like Greece too. And certain mayors in towns in Canada, of course, we can't have this, it's a hate group, because they essentially want to eliminate the state of Israel because, like I said, it's like in the way of their caliphate. They consider themselves at perpetual war with Israel. And I think I'm sharing this just because it shows us what the issue is and why this is still going on today. Like, this is why there's all the fight. Like, why in our heads we're like, well, why can't they just stop the fighting and accept the results of the war in 1948? It's more than that. Like, it's like this perpetual war to return to the caliphate from way back. It's like an Islamic thing. And a caliphate would liberate Palestine. In this article, it's like, different countries have banned this organization. Even Egypt, Bangladesh, and Pakistan have banned it. And of course,
Triple Dink.
It's listed as a terrorist organization, and they're claiming that they're not terrorists, that they want to intellectually talk about this concept of Islam, ruling these countries. It explained that it would be illegal for the state to have treaties with a polity such as Israel established on Islamic land. They consider it Islamic land because it was against Islam to surrender Islamic territory. They're saying that caliphate should have never ended. Like, they want to go back. So really, it makes you think about all the different ways people see history. Like, in America, we see history going forwards in a straight line. We're progressive. We want to see a better world in the future. These people want to go back to the past. We're clashing cultures. That's what's going on. This will connect to what we're doing. Even remember earlier in the year we were learning those uprisings in the 1920s, Arab nationalism. We're going to be talking a lot about Arab nationalism. All right. So last time, we were the doctor on last time. A lot of us have one question. The one that says number 2, old historian myths. Everyone have that open. John, you with us?
Yeah, I'm still connecting to the...
Say on 3 things the world rests, on justice, on truth, and on peace. Last time we were talking about the new historians. So let's remind us, what were the new historians doing to bring out truths? What truths were they bringing out?
What happened during the 48 war?
What really went down, right? And whereas the old historians were covering it up, right? There are things like the word expulsion, were covered up. And they were saying that the Arabs left on their own, all this stuff. Which makes you think, you hear the other side saying, they stole our houses, they stole our houses. In the first quarter, I told you how the lands were acquired legally, but it could be that when they're saying they stole our houses, when they expelled those villages, they're not like every village in the whole, they're like those ones, now they took over their houses, right? And it's terrible. So there's some truth on both sides. You can't completely shut down criticisms. Obviously, we're going to learn about how we justify it. All right, so this is like historians are bringing out this truth. So the question is there a connection, like from the Scripture book? Like, can the truth coming out lead to peace? Right? It says, in your opinion, how will popularizing study of the new history lead to peace? And which version will you retell when you do your advocacy work? Thoughts and digging up these truths, and it means peace.
I think maybe digging up the truths can lead to peace because you're like admitting to like wrongdoings and mistakes, and I think that could like let people kind of sympathize more with Israel. Clip.
Saying like, okay, you're not perfect, right? You can open up
Just like the
dialogue,
school.
right? Open up dialogue, and in fact, dialogue is what you would need to then lead to peace.
Exactly.
Admitting to mistakes, because saying you're perfect shuts down dialogue. So you need dialogue. So you're never going to sway the extremes. And you get the people in the middle to talk to each other. Yeah.
I think it could also help sort of find like a middle ground. Because like you did some bad stuff, we did some bad stuff, we could probably move in and sort of something like that.
Move on.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Like we were saying earlier, like history
Life
is relevant.
goes on.
Let's work out right? And all the mistakes here are when people want to look back and reestablish the caliphates and the King David and everything. How will this help you as an individual advocate? And then you're like, no, I just want to go to college and do my thing.
Exactly.
I don't want to be in it, don't want to be good. Okay. And
In a way, like now you can balance both sides. Like you don't block out everyone else's opinions. It allows you to communicate with others, and you can still advocate for Israel and also do the same thing. And that, like, in a way, allows you to like obtain more information, not just blocked out by what you know.
open to hear more from the other side, also open more for dialogue, and that you're not just spewing stuff that might not
That
even
what
be
you've
fully
heard
true.
for your whole life, yeah.
Right. You don't want to spew
Right.
all the stuff that someone could easily poke a hole in.
Mm-hmm.
View. What if you actually met someone whose grandparents were from Lita? Right? And you understand, like, they weren't making that up, that someone really happened.
Oh no.
There's like maybe someone from Haifa had different stories. Those people from Haifa raised left on their own. They weren't
First proof. What's even be the most massive?
And you have that viewpoint from the article where they think just the whole land is all Islamic land. And it's all stolen because it was really Islamic from the year 750. It's just such a mess. So what are you going to retell? Are you going to retell the old history or the new history?
I think being truthful is important because it like builds your credibility, and it's so important to be knowledgeable about what actually happened. But at the same time, like not necessarily like justifying it, but kind of like putting it into like proper context is important. Because like you could say like, look, like it is true that they like expelled these people from the land, but also when you look at it like from X, Y, and Z, or look at it from this perspective, like or explain like, well, there was all this other stuff going on, and like people are being slaughtered here and like that, like it's important.
Maybe stay. Stay on. You know what?
I wish you would just say when I say John Reader.
Say what you wanna say.
Stream, I'm sorry about that interruption. We'll be up and running shortly. How's everyone's day doing?
What?
I'm talking to Chad.
Chat.
It's good.
So really, I
So
love
chat.
how streaming, you know?
Chat
I would
with that.
imagine a lot of you are saying you're going
Oh,
to,
Chad
like Micah
died.
said, wanted to retell the new history
Chat's trash, chat.
because it is more unbiased, more truthful, more truthful, and all that stuff. For sure, in like the current climate on campuses, you have to have the full facts right now. They won't take you
telling
seriously
you?
if you don't have the full facts. And in fact, facts will be useful in swaying the middle people because they need the facts that.
An old friend, me.
Right. Again, this is the number 2 old historian notes. You just finished going over the reflection at the end. You should be able to turn it in. If you turned it in already.
There's something I didn't get.
Okay. What should I review?
No.
The David and Goliath
Ah, okay, the David and Goliath account.
Yeah, that's a good
All right, so
that's
anyone else who needs
that's a
help
good
in that, keep it engine.
I have everything.
Period.
The
My
idea
bad,
is,
guys.
I'll put the slide up.
Just
So
came out of
according to the old history, like, you know, the old, that's the one with like the mythical one, the one that like your old teacher may have told you, you know, part of that whole miracle story. That the Arabs were stronger, little itty Israel was outnumbered, and so it's like saying that they were the David and the Arabs, well, the Arabs were like the Goliath because they were from so many countries. They were always like, oh, so great. Resistance is fighting this giant. The new one is actually that wasn't so true. That Israel may have really been the Goliath because those people uncovered that there were 90,000 Israeli troops, 30,000 from all those Arab countries, and they were just a bunch of schmoes off the street that didn't even practice for the war. Right? They were not organized. There were 30,000
Schmo show.
disorganized Arabs against 90,000 organized. Where for the months, actually, they had all these young Israelis training, and on Masada training, and in the desert training, and they had them organized in troops and lines and everything. They were so motivated because you had people out of the Holocaust that knew this was do or die. You know, we had to get the state yet. So they had all these things going for them. The Arabs just had a bunch of volunteers, several thousand volunteers. They fell in domino fashion. Like it wasn't so much a miracle. Now, obviously, we could still, when we celebrate Yom HaTzmaut, we could still see this, you know, in our big historical view as like a miracle because like the way that history is led to this moment, that it actually got to happen, and that we worked for it. So in some ways, we see it to a miracle, but it's not like oh, how did this happen? We can't even explain it. It's like unexplainable. It didn't always reverse. Like we thought it was 2-1 the other way. We thought like maybe like if we had 90, that they would have had 180,000. But they did not have 100. It wasn't 2-1 the other way. It was 3-1 this way. So that was the real story. So from this we learn that, you know, we previously were perpetuating all these myths, but we should be spreading truths.
My team just
And
put
it's,
some.
this whole thing is a battle of narratives. We said they have the Nakba narrative. We have all these little miraculous narratives.
That's what I've been saying.
Hopefully the new history will catch on and we'll have those stories too to like blend into like a
Blended.
it's still
Fit the
a
movie.
truth that we are proud to
Yeah,
talk
really.
about, even though we have some unproud moments.
I'm proud.
All right, but thank
There's
you,
been an understanding.
Mia, for pointing that out, because it could have been that we went over too quickly at the end of
Ready?
the class. All right, anything
Ready up,
else
ready
that I
up.
should go over
Chat, ready up.
before we finish this document?
Queuing.
All right, we're good with number 2. Oh, 7 turned it in.
When did it-
Almost done.
Okay.
I'm just trying
Yeah,
to
me
catch up.
too,
I was first started it.
Why are you speaking like
You
that,
weren't
bro?
here yesterday?
No, I wasn't here on one of the days. I just.
I don't think so. I think you were present every day.
Let's.
Sure you were
Let's.
here.
I don't know.
Right?
Maybe. I was just catching up on the previous documents, so it's like I've got a backlog. Of,
This guy.
Okay, but at some
Maybe if
point
you
you're gonna have to do
prioritize-
something at home so we can keep going.
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
If you prioritize attendance to school, guys.
Yeah, sometimes life happens.
Hey, man. It's not an excuse.
Good luck on that stuff, dude. It's way too fun.
Yeah, I'm just finishing it up too. I think he's just really.
Anyone who is ready to move on. So sort of the next part of our unit, we're actually going to get a head start on the end of the quarter assignment. We're going to do a few questions on it. I'm talking about like a few classes in a row. Not all of this that I'm talking about is going to take place today. And then we're going to do like a group thing, like a simulation. And then we're going to return to this after that to do the judgment. So even if we're starting this today, next time we're only going to do questions 1 to 7 on this before we do the group work. And then after the group work thing, we'll return to So, the same slideshow open, the ones in old new history. This one. The slideshow that's called number 2, keep it open. If you go to slide 15. Alright, so the way this is going to work, yeah, we'll talk about these questions. Some of them are like directly from the slide, some of them are only questions, but everything you write will count to this is going to be the end of the quarter assignment. So as you can see, it's much simpler than last one's. Last end of the quarter, that was like an essay. Right, this is not so much an essay, it's like a series of reflection questions. So it's simple as end of the quarter assignment go.
Oh my god. What if you want to
And like I said, we'll be doing the grappling with what happened.
chat? Can I call chat?
All right, so I'm putting up slide 15, the one that you need to do the first few questions, right? So I'll just give you the background. So what we're going to be doing in that group thing, we're going to be using a book called My Promised Land by Ari Shavit. I believe he's like a well-known journalist. I think he was at the Times at one point. This nice book, My Promised Land. This was like in the first iteration of the class. We were using why I'm a Zionist and but this one chapter I had to keep it. It's such a good chapter. But he talks all about Lida through he read the writings of his grandfather. His grandfather came to the country as like, an idealistic Zionist, almost like Noah Tishby's grandmother kind of person, right? Like that same generation. And he settled by Lida. And Lida was a special place. So he starts by heaping praises on Lida. It was this large settlement in Middle Israel. It was a center of coexistence between Jews and Arabs. It was a hub on the railway system. There was a youth village there where Arabs and Jewish students studied side by side, led by this dynamic figure called Dr. Levy that he talks about all the time. And they learned to live and work together. They managed olive orchards, orange groves, and markets. It was a lively, prosperous place. And for all these reasons, it was like the last place that they thought the war would come to. Right? They never thought that the war would come to Lida. They thought they were like exempt. And the truth is, like, there were legitimate friendships and bonds between Arabs and Jews there.
Interesting.
Which makes this whole thing so much harder to digest, right? Because it's so unexpected. So you're writing down what was different about Lida that made people not expect that was there. So what are we writing? What was different about Lida? What made Lida special?
Coexistence.
Sorry.
In the center of coexistence. I didn't expect, this was not the battles of Hajjamin al-Hussein. They were not riots and fights and all this stuff.
I don't know, bro.
Slide, and literally on the slide, it also matches to this. So that's why it says answer question 1 in your journal. Because that's, oh, no, that's not the right thing. So it should be the same slideshow for you both. The number 2 slideshow. Slide 15. The same slideshow for before, but slide. So you should have open the number 2 slideshow in slide 15. And you should have the doc that says like, does it say end of quarter reflection or something like that?
Learning about Lida.
And this is your end of quarter reflection.
Lida
Lida
journal.
journal. End of quarter assignment. Lida journal, end of quarter assignment. Does everyone now have both things? All right, and we're kind of straight on this issue of Lida, because when we're in the groups, you're going to be like reading like accounts of the battle expulsion thing, different viewpoints, so it's good to understand the different people that could be characters, right? You're going to be like assigned like a different character almost in this Lida. So, yeah, it's just like beautiful place.
You do.
Everyone's working together.
You know.
No.
Saw you turn it on.
So what's
So
why did it go bad? That's what we want to know. Someone have to read for us.
In 1947, the question of Palestine reached its moment of truth. In February, His Majesty's government has had enough of the conflict between the Arabs and the Jews, and decided to leave the Holy Land and let the United Nations determine its fate. In June, an 11-member UN inquiry into the lives of Palestine, while touring the country visits Ben Shemin in the Lida Valley. In August, the committee comes to the conclusion that there is no chance that Jews and Arabs can coexist in Palestine, and therefore suggests dividing the land into 2 nation-states. In November, the UN General Assembly endorses the partition plan and calls for the establishment of a Jewish state and an Arab state. As the Arab League and the Arabs of Palestine reject Resolution 181, violence flares throughout the country. It is clear that Arab nationalism is about to eradicate Zionism and destroy the Jewish community in Palestine. It's a brutal force. It is clear that the Jews must defend themselves. Right?
You good, man?
As no one will come to their rescue as some.
Alright, we can actually stop.
Yeah,
I think we can stop.
Just let's
That's
go.
okay. So they're painting the picture of the rest of the country that's different than Lida. So what's going on in the rest of the country? Right, and
They
like,
can't coexist.
and not coexistence. The rest of the country sees you as either an Arab nationalist or a Jewish nationalist. There's like an exception. So they're everyone who's making policies is making them as if there is no Lida. And this beautiful thing in the center of the country. What is the cause? Why would you say the Arabs are uprising and rioting and this and that? Violence?
The committee came to the conclusion that there is no chance that Jews and Arabs can coexist in Palestine.
They're really blaming it on this thing called Arab nationalism. They're seeing this as a complete, like, dualism, dichotomy, whatever the word is, right? That you're either one or the other. you're an Arab nationalist or a Jewish nationalist, and the state that's going to be born out of this is going to be one or the other, or two neighboring states. That there's going to be no such thing as like, almost like in America, we all live together. Right? That was not in the plan treaty. They couldn't envision that. It existed in Lita, but I guess Lita was special. They didn't think that was fine for the vision for the future. So that's why they did the partition plan. Everywhere else, it had to be one or the other. It was like not thinking. And they thought that the way that it was going, the trajectory of was that Arab nationalism was just going to uprise and destroy the Jews. So it was like a defensive move. So you'll see, Ari Shafiq's going to justify the expulsion because, like, if they didn't do it, then there would be no state. They thought it was really going to be destroyed by violence. Yeah, right. That they see the cause of the violence was Arab nationalism, and that right, the Zionists would then have to defend themselves from this violent form of Arab nationalism, and defense could take any form that was necessary. You know, that they were going to have to do something big. Defend Zionism, or Zionism would just disappear, like the war. You know, one was just going to snuff out the other.
Any more attitude?
This picture of this beautiful coexistence in the youth villages.
Doubles in the chat. Doubles in the chat.
You know, everywhere else seems to not be that. Right? This was really an exception. So that, and they never expected the war to come there until, you know, they said that there's going to be a partition, there's a war of nationalism.
It'll be great.
Don't
I'm back. Oh, double ding.
Right, meaning they thought the war would take place like around them, as if they were in some sort of protected bubble in Lita. They thought, oh, it would never come here. Everyone loved this, like it's like experiment.
It was kind of like an enclave.
Yeah, but it was so unique because of it was there for decades. It was there from the 1920s. This little youth village. And
It was a Buffalo Soldier.
together.
You guys
Right, they had like students working the olive orchards together and selling things, and then they grew up, and then they went their separate ways. And even like when you do this like simulation thing, you know, one of the characters had been in this youth village, and then he became a soldier, and he was really grappling internally with what he was being asked to do. Because, you know, he was friendly with the Arabs, and this wasn't he didn't want a war. Right, so they really thought Lita was protected. It was off limits. It was like a base. This, right, so now we know that, this slide, we don't need to go so much into this slide. It's sort of like a list of like incidences of violence.
I think it's
different
important.
attacks.
I still think it's important.
You want to?
Yeah. And defend themselves as no one else will think they rescued. December 1947 to May 1948, a true civil war between the Arabs and Jews waged. The city of Israel was founded on May 14, 1948. The next day, the armies of Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon invaded in the area. In December, 7 cars convoy army to Ben Shemin is viciously attacked. 13 of his truth passengers were brutally murdered. In February 1948, 400 students of the youth village were destroyed by British army vehicles. Dr. Lehman is heartbroken. By April, the youth village is a besieged military post. In May, the mayor of Lita recommends that Ben Shemin surrender. He refuses. Still, the mayor begs the commander of the Arab Legion not to attack the isolated compound, as it does not threaten Lita in any way. When the Arab fields adjacent to Ben Shemin are set ablaze, some of the youth village graduates who have remained rushed to put out the fire. Even Even as war rages in most parts of Palestine, both Arabs and Jews regard the Lord as the
Good reading, man.
Yeah, there's
Like,
like
there's music going off in this corner.
someone's computer made noise.
It like sounds like digital.
Sononi est tout. Was it about me?
It's
not me, bro. It's not.
Yeah. We're in the last 5 minutes. Let's try to get.
Let's fuck through.
So there's right. So
stretching
we're gonna
line.
find out when one of the characters in the thing we're gonna do. There's like this
These are my
group
nitro.
of teenage Jewish kids who go around doing things like this, like setting fires and attacking people at night, like almost like they went like Lord of the Flies. They became like so like there were different things going on. There were these vigilantes. There were actual soldiers on the Jewish side, and there were Arabs attacking. It was really very chaotic. It went month by month. All the different violence on both sides. It's like the violence closed in on Lida. Like we thought the two nationalists fighting was outside of Lida, but it entered. It wasn't really a protected, restricted place. Like
Chat clip that. Chat clip that. Just hit a clip 200.
Right? Just look at the underlined sentence. And as Zionism closes in on the valley of Lida, from the south, east, and north, it now prepares to conquer the city of Lida itself. That's sort of like the account we read the other day. Alright, so with the next question, which is question 3, is about, it asks you, what's the
Come after
old
question.
history tell us about Lida? Yeah, exactly. Right. We talked about this the other time too, so it's that same thing. I'll put the slide up again, and then at the bottom of the slide it says. So yeah, the old history was telling
It's still
us.
going on.
It's not me. My computer's fully muted. Oh me, oh my.
Let's get some new ones.
There's no way you don't hear it.
I don't hear it either.
That was a clutch up in the
I don't
house.
know anything either.
Maybe I have an old person ears.
Yeah. You guesser.
But can we just continue?
Oh yeah, no, of course. It's just like an
All right.
I hear drumming in the background too.
Let's
That just might be in your head.
when this sort of thing happens at the end of the class, it only confuses people.
Not me.
You understand? We
Yeah.
don't need to discuss this right now.
You're right. You're right.
We don't want to end like this. The period's ending now.
Let's do whatever it takes.
So that.
Window.
Alright, so what are we writing for question 3?
The old history represented the story of Lida as a necessary part of the 1948 war, and focused on the military operations, and it didn't really give a lot of attention to the suffering of the Arab residents. And often like covered up the details of important. They often covered up important details like of the expulsion and what was that like really going on.
And the story goes was that they were evacuated and left voluntarily because they were like afraid of the war. They were given safe conduct and they're like Arabs told them that they could go back when they want. This is what the Israelis said about the Arabs. Everything above
This is New York.
because this is the new history.
These people sticking street and
Right, but we learned last time too, that Rabin said it was an expulsion, and he even tried to admit it to the world, but he was censored.
Were you silent or were you silenced?
Gentlemen.
Gentlemen, I think.
Alright, so let's see if maybe we can take a look at the next slide. And your job when you look at this, you're gonna decide, was the force used necessary or excessive? And there could be a difference of opinion in the class. Alright, so we'll see. Necessary, excessive, justified, or unjustified. So let's see what it says.
East 51st.
Alright. Alright, so they're going in towards the olive orchards. Please,
Not me.
read to yourself. I can't believe you're still talking.
Oh, it's me. It's me. It's me.
Bro.
I'm not.
It's over now.
My bad, guys.
Moshe Dayan's Regiment 89 arrives in Bet Shemen. By the water fountain Dr. Lehman built for his Arab neighbors, Dayan forms the regiment into an armored column. One behind the other, they stand at the ready. A giant armored vehicle mounted with a cannon, menacing half-tracks, and a machine gun equipped jeeps. In the late afternoon, the column leaves Bet Shemen and speeds to Toledo.
We're gonna be.
Firing at all its way. And here's the underlined part. In 47 minutes of blitz, more than 100 Arab civilians are dead. Women, children, old people. Regiment 89 lost 9. Right, so the Israelis lost 9, and the Arabs lost 100. I guess we'll continue next time.
Thank you.
What do you say?
Bakwag, where am I? Like, I'm gonna go, like, I'm in a very, very weird country.
Yeah, that's
That was
Oh wait, I mean.